Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome back for another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser. And this week for episode 60, that's right, 60, that's insane how far we've come. We're going to be revisiting Stripagrams or private parties. That's right, I feel like it's been a long time since we discussed it. This was one of our first episodes, and since it's been almost 2 years now, I think it's, like I said, time to revisit it for the people that have not gone back and listened to all the podcasts. But first things first, I want to do a little bit of housekeeping. I want to go ahead and mention our Patreon. That's right, patreon.com/crowdpleaser. This is where you can give back to the show that brings you so much joy, excitement, entertainment, and insight. You can donate for as little or pledge for as little as $1 a show. That's right. You can start and stop anytime you'd like. And it just goes a long way towards helping me continue to make this content. I get all kinds of great perks on there. You gain access to behind the scenes footage of photo shoots, and you get all the pictures. Do videos whenever I create an act. You're the first ones to find out stuff. So, and you get the uncut versions of this show. So definitely something to check out. Like I said, it's a good way to, I really appreciate it. I really do. I appreciate it so much that every show I like to call out a special patron. And this week, our patron is Leslie Montgomery. Leslie, you rock. Thank you so much for your contributions. I really appreciate it. It really goes a long, long way. She's actually one of my first patrons, been donating for almost as long as I've had the show. So I really appreciate that. It definitely helps make a difference. All right, next up, I want to mention La Bear Dallas. This is my home office where I operate 5 nights a week, Wednesday to Sunday, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. That's right. Any kind of special occasion or just a girls' night out, come on down, have a good old time. There is enjoyment for the entire family. Yeah, there kind of is, really. Honestly, there's something for everyone to watch. In fact, there was two couples came in last night, as a matter of fact, and I want to say that the gentlemen had a better time, more fun than the females did. Their wives, they kept giving money for their wives to go up and tip guys and stuff, and they were just having a hoot, enjoying the guys' skit, just watching their wives kind of be uncomfortable and just having a good time. It was great, to the point where they both came up and took pictures with everyone at the end of the night. They just sat on the seats on their own, and we threw arms over everyone's shoulders and stuff. But yeah, they had a great time. So it really is fun for the whole family. You've heard Randy talk about having a grandmother, a mother, and a daughter all in at the club at the same time. So it's all fine and dandy as long as they don't like the same person. That's right. That kind of occasionally creates a little bit of awkwardness. But alrighty, moving right along. Last thing I want to mention is my Twitch, twitch.tv/Jedi, JEDI_EJ. That is right. It's a new adventure I'm doing where you imagine TV where you can interact live. That's right. I'm on there playing some digital formats. I am creating stuff. I am performing. All that stuff is on there, practicing, and you can interact with me with chat, kind of let me know what's going on. We can talk about what I'm streaming, talk about something else. It's all good. Come hang out, have a good time. I'm enjoying it, and we're slowly building a community there. So definitely check it out. Right now, I am streaming every Monday, Tuesday, and Saturday mornings. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for the housekeeping. So before I jump into our main topic, I would like to make a public service announcement. This is a little bit of a pet peeve of mine just because it seems to always be an issue. Ladies and gentlemen, when you come to La Bear, do not get me wrong, it is a safe environment. That is one of the things that appeals to people to come out. But please, please, please do not tempt fate. There is alcohol there, which means people's inhibitions and decision-making processes are skewed. So stop leaving your purses, your cell phones, and your money on your table with no one there. Please. it is just such a pet peeve of mine. Like, I get it, don't get me wrong, on a Sunday when it's only regulars, you know, and everyone kind of gets it, that might be a little more acceptable, and I think that's where it initially stemmed from. And I get it, because everyone's going to respect each other, but like, I see it way too often on Fridays and Saturdays, people. And here's the thing, like, I'd like to think that in general, by default, people are good. But once again, when alcohol is around, when strangers are involved, when they think they're at a place they're never going to come back to, you know, they might really like a guy, they might not. Like, you've heard me talk about women taking money off of our stage. So what do you think they're going to do if they just see the money, literally cash, sitting on top of the table with no one around? Please stop doing this. Don't let your friends do this. It stems literally from 2 nights ago, Friday night. I was on stage 3. There was a group of 3 women, right? And Oscar was serving them. All 3 women got up and went to the smoking patio to smoke, which means what? 10, 15 minutes they're going to be gone, guaranteed. They all left their purses by their chairs, their cell phones. I think they left one cell phone at the table, and then literally something along the lines of $200 to $300 just sitting on the table. Ladies, like, I mean, it would have taken absolutely no effort for me to jump off that stage as I was walking to go do a dance or walk to the locker room and grab a stack of ones from the table, and no one would have thought the wiser. Same thing for a random lady walking by. You hear all the time that people lose their cell phones. I mean, come on, most smartphones are $1,000 now. So like, just don't. Even Oscar was like, yeah, you know, I hate when they do this, because now it's kind of my responsibility to kind of make sure I watch the table whether they ask me to or not, because I'm a good person like that. I'm like, I know, it's freaking insane. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm not saying LeBear is this like threshold of like evil thieving cesspool or anything like that, but like, come on, like I said, don't tempt fate. Like, just be on the up and up. Put the stuff in your purse. You know, I make it a point whenever I grab somebody for a dance and they leave that stuff on the table, I tell them to grab it. It's just safer that way. Better safer than sorry. So there's my little public service announcement for you guys. Just, yeah, just don't. I've heard too many times of people losing money or losing their cell phones, sometimes on accident, sometimes on purpose. So like I said, it's a lot. It's not the regulars that do it. It's not the dancers. It's just the random girls are in there. They're intoxicated and they're just like, hey, why not? You know? So, all right, that is it. Let's go ahead and go into our main topic. But first, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. That's right. Ah, sweet, sweet caffeine. Just FYI, if you guys ever want to mail me a special brew of your favorite brand of coffee, by all means, have it mailed to the club. I would be more than happy to have it. I am definitely a caffeine connoisseur. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Stripagrams, or aka private parties. This is one of the many services that LeBear Dallas and its entertainers offer. And what this is you can hire 1, 2, 5 entertainers to go to your private venue, which I'll discuss in a moment, and perform our same great show for just you and your private party. That's right. This is a good way to yeah, let me go ahead and just go into that. This is a good way to climatize people or introduce people to a club that might be kind of pretentious about it. There's very often there's plenty of women that they may have never even stepped foot in a gentleman's club. So going to a ladies club makes it worse, you know, the taboo of it, etc., etc. And they're just worried that they might have heard stories from the private circuits that are typically a little more raunchy. No judgment on them. It's a fact. It's a matter of fact. They have a lot less regulations and standards, so they kind of get a little more in your face, if you will. Sometimes literally. So, yeah, you can, and I like this because people are a lot more comfortable. You get to have it. Wow, everything just kind of leads into everything else. So, excuse me. So the yeah, you get to have it with just your friends and family, and you can kind of set them up for success, i.e. dimming the lights a little bit, or just having the people that are comfortable with it, or pre-gaming with a little bit of alcohol beforehand, etc., etc. All these things that really help set the mood, so to speak, and help people realize, oh wow, that's a lot of fun. That's not nearly what I thought it was. So that's what a private party is. Long story short, you bring the same great show of LeBear from one individual guy to your place of party and celebrate with just your friends. It is a private party. All right, So one thing I do want to suggest, and one of the reasons I'm bringing this up today, is the fact that overall the club requests for Stripagrams have gone down. It's not crazy, it's not insane or anything. It's more like somewhere along the lines of a 20 to 30% decrease over typically, because we will easily do somewhere between 8 to 12 private parties a week, between stuff during the week, obviously more during the weekend and more in evenings, but we have done some during the day. I've even done some in people's lunch hour during office hours, which is absolutely great for me, because I'll be honest with you, it is typically a shorter than normal Stripagram, because I show up, people need to finish eating, they need to get back to work, so I go in, do my show, have a great time, make some money, and they're like, all right, thanks for coming out, here's your clothes, get the heck out of here. And I am okay with that. But the reason I believe this has happened is because there hasn't been a major motion picture or show or anything like that promoting the industry again, people have kind of gone back to not really knowing we exist. And believe it or not, that is quite a thing. Typically, you guys have heard me talk about on this show where, I mean, shoot, let's just take LeBaire, for example. On our street, in a half-mile radius, there are literally 6 gentlemen's clubs. That's right, 6 female stripper clubs. But in all of the Metroplex, there's only 1 club for ladies, or LeBaire. Typically, we are a very niche market, and most cities can only offer to sustain 1 club like this. So that means that there's a significant amount of people out there that do not know about us. You hear about it all the time when ladies come to the club. Like, I didn't even know you guys existed. I've been to female clubs, just never been here, etc., etc., etc. So that is part of it. The fact that there's nothing in mainstream media to kind of remind people we're there. The other thing is that with the inclusion about 2 or 3 or 4 years ago of the Magic Mike movies, the popularity of Chippendales, and all this other stuff, the private sector or random individuals that have decided to be their own Magic Mikes has increased. And so through various media platforms and things like that, I feel like individual people or maybe even smaller private companies have offered more Stripagram services, and thus they have also kind of given us a little bit of competition, but not really. I'll explain that in a moment. And typically they've offered a lower cost for their parties as well. If I could give you a little bit of insight, there was one time where I had a Stripagram Sunday afternoon, and I was more than happy to do it. It was actually, the timing worked out well, so it was before one of the classes I teach, aerial classes, so I was going to go do the private party and then go to the studio earlier, change and teach. And I arrived early as I normally do. So I'm sitting out on the street just kind of waiting for it to get close to crunch time. And then all of a sudden I literally see a gentleman walk out, which I will admit he was not in the best of shape. Like, he works out, but he was kind of a little thicker than you would assume for a male entertainer. Shirtless with a cowboy hat on, which I thought was kind of tacky in of itself. Like, why are you go walk out like that? But then just because I wanted to avoid a potential awkward moment, I went ahead and just called the person that booked the show, which ended up being a little interesting because the person that they wrote down as booking the show actually did not book it. It was their husband, I believe, if I remember correctly. So they had to talk to them. But long story short, they had called LeBaire, booked it, then I guess found this person that was able to do it cheaper and just never canceled the Stripagram with LeBaire. So that was a little awkward. But yeah, so it was funny because the guy was literally there. He was walking out about 15 minutes before I got there. So I guess, see, a part of me feels like they knew and they kind of scheduled it ahead of time. Because if not, I would have been there before he did. But anywho, yeah, we typically charge more than a private person that's just willing to do it for nothing. The problem with that is the fact we charge more because, one, we are a named brand company, but then also we have to give the LeBaire a cut. So part of the Stripagram fee that you pay goes back to the club because obviously you hired us through the club, which is perfectly all right for me. I am okay with that. In most cases, we would not get reached out to if it wasn't for LeBaire. But the other reason why is the fact that we are trained. We have monthly meetings to go over the various Stripagram skits we do and the structure of them, which I'll go over here in a moment. and things like that. And so you are getting a much higher quality of show, both in the actual physical capabilities of the entertainer, as well as the structure and routine of the private party. The professionalism really goes a long way. If you know someone that has gotten multiple private parties from different people, ask them. And I will guarantee you, they will tell you that not all private parties or stripagrams are created equal. And thus, the true professionals will stand out and improve the quality of the show. And that's why we're okay charging a little more. So yeah, that's one of the reasons why I feel like we have seen that 20 to 30% decrease in overall requests. But I think with proper exposure and people inoculating us, because honestly, in most cases, there's going to be at least 50% of the people at a stripagram have never experienced one. And after that, they are more inclined to get one. It's kind of one of those repeat customer type things. In many cases, once someone has one, they are more willing to have another, both for themselves and the ladies that are there. Like, for example, if we're there for a bachelorette party, someone would be like, hey, my birthday's in a month, I'm going to hire you. And so little by little, we keep inoculating to more and more people, kind of snowballing the effect. All right. So let's go into the nitty gritty. Ooh, I wonder if you guys are going to pick up that thunder and lightning that's happening. I guess it's going to start storming today. A little bit of a bummer, but such is life. All right. So stripagrams can be held anywhere, literally anywhere. Like, I mean, it could be at your private home. It could be at a private venue. Like, for example, if you go hire out the private room of a restaurant, it could be at a hotel. I've done at a banquet, or I've done at a hotel meeting room. I've done at hotel rooms. Those are all perfectly all right. And banquet halls, bars, pretty much any venue you can think of, we can hold a stripagram at. Typically, we try to have them in not open venues. For example, if we go to a bar, we try to go into a corner or a back room or something like that, just because it might not be for everyone and some people might be uncomfortable, etc., etc. For homes as well, I've done plenty of Latin parties, and anyone that is Latin or knows of Latin families, when they party, the entire family is there. So babies, kids, teenagers, you know, adults, elderly, everybody's there. Guys, girls, the whole gang. And so typically I don't mind varying ages as long as they're of age, you know, 18 and up. And but you know, teenagers, little kids, stuff like that is a pretty big no-no for me. You know, I know what I'm going to do, but it just takes one wrong picture of me in my underwear dancing with, you know, a kid there that just make it uncomfortable. And it just, yeah, I'd just rather not expose people to that. So that's the only time we try to like segregate. Normally, it's not a big deal. And I'll go more in depth to that. But yeah, we get plenty of people that come in from out of town, like Oklahoma, to come party in Dallas. And so they have a hotel room and we go and perform at the hotel room. And I've done it at bars, and I've done it at banquets hall. I've done it at the Veterans of Foreign Awards, so VFW, and that place is like a warehouse size club. I mean, when I did 2 stripagrams there, it was like 300 people in that place. So there is no limitation of where we could do it. We've done them outside, though I will admit, sweet baby Jesus, it is kind of horrible both during the summer and during the winter. I've done stripagrams outside in backyards where it is the dead of winter. I still have to get into my underwear, but I mean, where everyone's out there in like coats and jackets. There was a funny one where I did it and they had like an outdoor or a fireplace type thing, one of those like hot stone things, and they had chairs all the way around it. Man, I danced on those girls as much as I could to at least have that fire somewhere near me. Granted, once I start dancing, I warm up anyways, but still the sweat does not feel good when it's like 30, 40 degrees outside. And it's funny because they didn't like try to apologize or ask if I was all right till like the end, you know, like when I was taking pictures. I was like, thanks for caring. And the flip side is it gets to 100 degrees here in Dallas. So yeah, when it's dead of summer, like I just did 2 weeks ago, I had a stripagram once again outside. Luckily, they had an overhang, so that was at least somewhat beneficial. But yeah, the one ceiling fan they had out there was not enough. Thankfully, I bring a sweat rag, so I was able to keep myself quasi-dry during that endeavor. But yeah, about that. Hope you like a sweater, dude, because yous are going to get it. But all right. So yeah, private parties, stripagrams, we can do them anywhere. Just about anywhere. I've done them on a party bus. There you go. Done it on a party bus. A couple of times with the bus parked. Thank goodness. A couple of times with the bus moving. That was not exciting. It was more about like guerrilla hanging tactics and shenanigans than anything else, honestly. But hey, people get a kick out of it, so why not? It's always fun when we're stuck in traffic and you can see people wondering what's going on the party bus if they can kind of see through the tints a little bit. But that covers it. Let's go into the nitty gritty or the structure of the stripagram, shall we? All right. So first things first, when I arrive, I like to get there early. I'd rather have me wait on you than you wait on me. It's just part of my professionalism. You never know if parking is going to be an issue, if you get lost, if you have to get into a gated complex, or if it's a hotel, you have to take your time to get there, find parking downtown, all kinds of things. So I like to get there early. So I get there early, and because of the nature of A, getting paid first, and B, making sure that everything is in order, I modified this. I used to not contact the person that hired me, but now I do make it a standard part of my procedure, which is the meet and greet. So once I get there, go ahead and prep all my stuff, make sure my gear's good, connect my speaker system, make sure I smell good, fresh breath, all that little details that kind of takes it over the top, which once again, you never know what you're going to get from a random person. But with the crowd pleaser here, you get maximum professionalism, ladies and gentlemen. That's right. 100% satisfaction guaranteed. One way or another, I will make sure you are happy by the time I leave. So once I get there, I go ahead and notify. I call the person, which sometimes doesn't work out because I still have a Miami number. So they're like, why is Miami calling me? Never mind. But I leave a message. They call me back. And this just lets them know that I'm there so they can meet me outside, whether it's at the hotel, the venue, etc., etc. We go ahead and get paid right away. Reason being is, one, we want to make sure we get paid. You know, there's very easy for someone to essentially, you know, not pay us or whatever, kind of conveniently skip out, etc., etc. So we handle that ahead of time just to make sure everything's on the up and up. The other reason, if I could get a little real with you, is the fact that sometimes stripagrams don't go our way. Granted, the extreme has never happened to me, but I do keep it in mind. Sometimes when you go to a venue, it's going to be a mixed crowd, which is 100% okay. We do not mind guys being there at all. But sometimes alcohol is there or is involved. Sometimes people do not take kindly to us playing around with a certain family member or, you know, affectionate other. You never know. Long story short, I'm not gonna get into too much detail because once again, I've been able, the few times that there might have been a situation, I was able to de-escalate it. And most of the time it ends up being going off without a hitch because we're professionals and we're able to handle ourselves in such a way. But, you know, the Magic Mike thing, if you remember, like, you know, I think they were doing it at a sorority, and like all the boyfriends showed up and were trying to beat them up, so they had to leave in a hurry. You want to make sure you get paid. You know what I'm saying? It's just a good thing to have, especially since we owe the club the fee. And you just make sure that everything's on the up and up, so you're not getting screwed at the end. Plus, we confirm who the, you know, what the event is, who it's for, and any special instructions we might have. And typically I let them walk back in. I just say, give me 2 or 3 minutes. I'll knock. That way we can either have the person of honor open the door or, you know, just kind of set the mood. So next up, we have the walk-in. This is where I come in, or the entertainer walks in. And typically this is a little like, it's hard because you want to stay in theme, but I also don't treat it like 100%. Like if I'm a cop, I'm not kicking down the door with my gun. I'll be like, everyone down on the ground now. You know, it's nothing like that. I do walk in, still stay in character, but I do like to set up the scene. This includes setting up my speakers or connecting my phone to their speaker system. Like I said, sometimes I have had, going into a party, they already have like this DJ going, so that's much better than using my Bluetooth speakers. So I set that, you know, give them a phone, which I can also use in the meet and greet. I might give her my phone, unlock it, and be like, here you go, if you can have them connect this. I typically like to set the scene myself to make sure it is to my standard, which is typically moving 3 chairs to a center stage where I could place the girl of honor as well as 2 of her friends, so she's not as uncomfortable as you would think. A lot of times they either leave her in the middle of the floor by herself, which, you know, for certain individuals that could be extremely intimidating. They don't want to be out there by themselves. So I like to put 3 chairs so I could space them out and let everyone know that everyone's going to be involved. Set up my speaker system somewhere where I feel like it's going to project. and I make sure it's good to go, so it's plugged in, etc., etc., and I know where all my stuff is at. And just let the girls know, you know, hey, you ready to party? Where's our alcohol level? Have we been taking shots? So I know what I'm dealing with. Kind of scope out if there are guys there, what's the age groups, etc., etc., etc. So while I'm doing this, like I said, I'm still kind of in character. If I'm a cop, I'm still talking to them, like, hey, look, I'm here. I got called in for a noise complaint, etc., etc. Once the walk-in is done, I've established the mood of everyone to see where they're at. Are they all nervous? Are they interacting, etc.? I go ahead and go into the skit. And the skit can be anywhere from cop, doctor, fireman, cowboy, you name it. The skit is a very, very important part of the stripagram, and I feel like a lot of amateurs or new beginners, rookies, kind of negate this part, and this is really what sells the stripagram. And the reason why I say it is because it changes people's views immediately about what they're getting. They already expect we're going to be naked and dancing on them, and that's what intimidates them. But if you go in there, you put on a solid show, people get to know you, they see you being funny, you interact with the girl of honor. Now all of a sudden you're creating a memory, you're making an event, and this is a fantastic part of it, and it helps warm people up to you, and you get a gauge of the crowd, how into it they are, how reactive they are, and you get to play around with the maid of honor or the girl of honor, which is extremely important because at the end of the day you are there for her. You want to make sure she is happy and keep her comfortable. Now, one thing I will say is we do offer, and we get this question, that's why I'm bringing it up. We are okay and more than happy to accommodate males being at the private party, but we do not dance on them and we do not dance for them. I say this because we have had people inquire about having a stripagram for their male friend, or at least if we are there or if they're at the party, for us to dance on them, and we do not. There are, you know, other clubs that accommodate those kinds of situations and stuff like that, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with them. It is just something we do not offer at La Bear, just to make sure we don't fall into certain misconceptions or stereotypes and stuff like that. And some people are just straight up uncomfortable about it. And so we do not. We will joke around with them and stuff like that. And most of the time what I end up doing is just, if there's enough of them, I end up teaching a lap dance class or just having them help out with me, which is perfect all right. And we have a good time that way. I do like interacting with the males, that way they don't feel left out. And they typically honestly have a great time because it's the same thing. They're just as surprised as the ladies are with the skit. Once the skit is done, we go ahead now, we kind of break character a little bit because of course they didn't know up until that point. They were totally convinced. Then I let them know, hey, look, I'm a performer at La Bear. We're here for a party. What's up? You ladies down. Are you guys ready for the show? And this is when the music starts. So once again, I have my own stuff prepped, so I know it starts when I want it to start and when I'm ready for it. And now I take the time, and this is another flexible thing. I am going to strip down to my underwear. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We do not get fully naked. We do not get fully nude at the club. We do not get fully nude at your home or place of venue. I like that. I think it's a safety concern, as well as, like, no one wants to see that. I don't even want to see that. I dance way too much to have things going on like that. So plus, once again, teenagers and stuff, and the elderly, like, come on now. And you did hear me mention how much I sweat. Yeah, we want to avoid all that. Occasionally I have had ladies trying to pull my underwear down. It honestly is a little perturbing, to be completely real with you guys. I won't lie, because of the fact that I don't play with that at all. You know, like, I do not play with my underwear at all at private parties. I do on stage a little bit when I have a safe environment, and even then it's still kind of asked for it, so I don't. So when ladies do it, I understand they freak out, they don't know what to do, everyone's looking at them, so they just kind of panic. And the reason why I say that especially is because most of the time the ladies end up doing that. Don't get me wrong, some of them are the confident, kind of in control type layman, but most of the time it's the ladies that seem the most nervous and the most not want to want to be on me or whatever, or want me on them, are the ones that do like the worst things because they just don't know what to do and they panic and they do something. I typically get them one pass. I just smile, put my underwear back up, let them know, oh, we don't do that, you know, etc. But we see how it goes. Some people are stubborn, and then I just end up avoiding them for the rest of the time. So I periodically strip and stuff like that. I do end up going down in my underwear every time, just because sometimes I want them to inoculate, even if the crowd is super, super conservative, which was my last stripagram. That stripagram I said where I was outside and sweating. Yeah, apparently it was a church group. That's right. And the two random ladies thought it was a good idea to do it, which, do not get me wrong, it was funny because absolutely no one had been in Le Bear. No one, not even the lady that hired me. That one was a little awkward because I seriously, there was about 16 women there and I danced on 2 of them. And the lady that they hired me for wanted nothing to do with me. So that was very interesting. But I did get down to my underwear, and that Stripagram was actually extremely funny because of the fact that, like I said, everyone was avoiding me like the plague. But once, and then even for pictures, they took like 3 pictures and that was it. Then I was like, I could put my clothes back on. They're like, no, it's not necessary. As soon as I put my clothes back on, everybody wanted pictures. And was like, oh my God, you're so good looking. That was a great show. Thank you so much. And they were super sweet. I'm like, ladies, yeah. But they ended up having a great time. Like literally, it was one of those things where like during the dancing, I was like, even the skit was horrible. Oh my God. Like literally, I thought that Stripagram personally was absolutely atrocious. Like they were not responsive. They were nervous. They were just, I was just like, oh my God, they hate this. Why did they do this? I could just, my empathetic side just was vibrating with all the uncomfortable discomfort in the party. But like I said, they loved it. They even tipped me extra. I was like, what is going on? But hey, mission accomplished. They had a great time. Life is great. So I left with a smile. They left with a smile. Don't think they'll be coming to Le Bear, but who knows? Maybe a couple will. But yes. So that leads me once again, like I just mentioned, a segue into is the pictures. So once the dancing is done, I like to end it right with pictures. So while everyone's excited and everyone's on the high point, I like to start off with the first picture being absolutely everyone so we can make a good memory of what happened. That's right. So I get a picture with everyone, then I take as many individual pictures as they like. Sometimes people get creative with it, sometimes they don't. This is a fun little part. People ask questions. They get to kind of like, oh yeah, he is a person. Hold on, coffee break. It's gonna be interesting if you guys pick up the rain outside. It might be slightly majestic. Maybe I'll do that for a podcast. Have like some rainforest or rain sounds in the background. See how that goes. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you really like the sound of my voice, but sometimes you just need a little extra snazz. So, moving around. Pictures goes great. I normally joke around a little bit, have some fun. Typically have at least 1 or 2 ladies that like to take pictures with their heads at my crotch. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? The only awkward ones is whenever they want me to do like handcuffs and things like that, and I'm like, no, I'm good. Next up are the promotions. This is going to tell you about all the great things we have going on in the club so you can come party with us and celebrate, because once again, our main goal was to not only have a good time and make sure you make a memory, but also let you know that, hey, you can continue to have some great memories at Le Bear. One of the things that are included with our private parties, which kind of helps mitigate the cost that you're paying, is that you get the Le Bear Golden Ticket. The Le Bear Golden Ticket, what this means is the girl of honor, the birthday girl, the bachelorette, whatever it is, gets free entry into Le Bear. It could be that night, which we encourage, but it could be any night they decide to come out. And you get a free bottle of champagne on us, completely 100% free. That's right, because the more you drink, the better looking we get. That's right. So, a little bit of a bummer because I'm starting to hear more and more people catch on to that little saying I like. It always makes people laugh. But it is what it is. You can't have anything, not very many things can stay original for too long in this world. And I don't mind. I have plenty of witty things to throw out there. But yeah, and then we give out tickets to our next major shows, like our strip-offs and things like that. And we promote also, if you guys did not know this, if you are at a Stripagram and you book in another Stripagram, you actually get 10% off your next booking. That's right. All you have to do is either put your name on a list and your birthday or whatever event you're going to be doing. And then when you call, we offer that up to you, or you can book it on the spot. Either way, like I said, you get a 10% discount on your next Stripagram. So that's one of the things to keep in mind. finally, we also this is typically where I also answer all the questions, let people know about all the other guys at the club, because once again, at their private party, I am the only stripper there, so I am the most popular and everyone's favorite. But sometimes not everybody's cup of tea, so I pass out business cards from all the other guys, let them know what we have going on, and that typically lets people know, like, oh wow, that dude's hot. Ooh, I like that dude. Hey, do you have any of this? Ooh, okay. So funny story. We had a ladies convention, right, or a women's expo a couple weeks ago, and we were there promoting. So I was talking to these ladies, they were having a great time, and then one lady, you know, tried to be real with me, which you guys already know. Those of you that know me, I'm a pretty down-to-earth kind of guy. Was like, so do you have any dark meat? I'm like, yes we do. And she's like, no, I mean like dark. And I'm like, yes we do. And she's like, I'm like, yeah, we do. He's not here right now, but we have Ace. And I mean, let's just face it, guys. If you've been to the club, Ace is dark skin. He's about as dark skin as they get. I have no problem saying that. We have all kinds of shades, from brown, green, light brown, dark brown. What other kinds of Latins? I mean, everything. To paste. I don't think we have any pasty white dudes anymore. But anywho, so I was trying to tell her that, right? And she didn't believe me. So I go onto his page. And like, I'm like, there you go. And she's like, oh, that's not dark. And she's like, close your eyes. Close your eyes. And I close my eyes. She's like, yeah, see, that's how dark I want it. I'm like, woman, that is a photo shoot. That is a professional done photo. You know what that means? There's like 3 lights on him. So, and he has baby oil on him probably. So that's a sheen. He is dark. She's like, I need black. I'm like, so I have to go scoping out till I find one of him on stage, or like a normal picture, and be like, look. And she's like, that's what I'm talking about. I'm like, see, I freaking told you. Like, darn, woman. That was like literally like a 5-minute conversation I was trying to have to show her that we had some dark meat. I was like, come on. You know, but it is what it is. I just thought it was humorous. I was like, woman, really? Are you being that picky? I'm like, I am telling you, he's black. I would tell you if he's mocha. Jeez. All right. So, so this is when I tell about the rest of the guys. All right. Then we have the cleanup phase. This answers any questions that they might have. This is when I pick up the money that might fall on the floor or they tipped me, throw this in my suitcase, start collecting my things and getting dressed. Typically like to have the lady that hired me and or the lady that the stripagram was for to help me get dressed. Occasionally there will be 1 or 2 ladies that were all over me, and you know, the frisky ones of the group that will be down to help me get dressed. So yeah, they do that. They normally jump up and do it. And then of course, you know, I won't lie, more often than not, they'll put my pant legs together and then they'll, oh, that's not done right. And they rip them open again, put them back together. I still don't like it, rip them open again. So, you know, hey, we have a couple of jokes and stuff. So it is what it is. Or the bride to be will like, dang, these are convenient. How can I get these for my husband or my future husband, my fiance? I'm like, well, funny story. And actually, I just told him I have them made. So yeah. So we get that done. Leave them with a couple of last minute, like, hey, what's up? Yeah, cool. And then the walkout, where you want to typically call attention back to the girl you were there for one more time. Make her feel super special, because at the end of the day, she is worth it. I give them a shout out, let them remind them, it's Caesar the Crowd Pleaser did your party. You're awesome. I'm awesome. We're awesome together. And I will catch you guys at the bear later. And let them know I'm going back to work, because I am. Because sometimes they don't realize that. They think that's all I do. And I'm like, no, I'm going back to the club. I have to go on stage. So if you follow me there, I will put you up on stage. And yeah, sometimes they follow. Sometimes they don't. Like I said, if it's a Latin party, they have kids, they have husbands, all that stuff. Shenanigans, it's kind of hard to get them to go to the club. But that doesn't mean they don't come back later. And sometimes, especially if they have like the hotels and they're from out of town, heck yeah, they come back to the club. And we just party it up. So yeah. And wait a minute. I just wanted to put something. Oh, yeah, there you go. We're going to have a twofer on the worst event. Let me add that real quick. There we go. You guys are getting a twofer. Twofer. Actually, a double twofer. A double whammy. Wham. Double kablamo. Double decker. Yeah, double decker on the worst investments. But all right, guys. That is the structure of a stripagram, aka private party. Didn't go too in depth. This one's a little more for the patrons versus the actual stripper that is doing it. There's a lot of little intricate details that go into it. like song selections and things and interactions. I will say that most professionals do cater our performances based on the crowd, i.e. if there are gentlemen there, we pull back some because, you know, we could be dancing on someone's sister, someone's mom, someone's girlfriend or wife. So we typically pull back a little bit, be a little more conservative. If it's a larger group, same thing. If it's a, you know, we gauge the crowd and dance accordingly. But once again, we go off of your comfort level. So we never force ourselves upon anybody. We keep it pretty real. We do have a couple of little tricks and interaction things we do to have some fun, you know, etc. Things like that. So we play around with the crowd. At the end of the day, we're all showmen and we all hope to have a good time. So it happens. Sometimes we're in theme, sometimes we're not. It just depends on the type of party you're having. I've come into some very, very interesting bachelorette parties. Just saying. But yeah, that's it in a nutshell. If you have any questions, by all means, message me in the comments below and stuff like that. I'll try to answer for you. So yeah, that's the structure. Overall, it is a great time. I enjoy doing them. Most entertainers enjoy doing them. Every once in a while, there is a little bit of awkward anticipation when you don't know what you're getting into until you walk through the door. But once you start, like once you walk through that door and the party gets going, honestly, it's just, you just go with the flow and you have a great time. And like I said earlier, I mentioned with that last Stripagram, that in most cases, my perfectionist self is like, man, oh God, this is going horrible. And then they end up having a blast, or they call back to the club and say that was absolutely awesome. So I've had, I think I can literally count in one hand how many less than great Stripagrams I had. And I don't think I've ever had a bad Stripagram, because even the ones that I thought, like I said, were bad, where these ladies just are not feeling it, they end up having a great time. So I call that a success. So definitely look into it. If you have not, it is something to do. It's a really, really great time to do it. It's even better when you do it when you're on with your favorite. Let's say you've been coming to the club for a couple of years, hire someone for your birthday. It's a great time. It's a great time. They're typically somewhere between 35 to, or 40 minutes to an hour. We advertise them at 45 minutes, but pictures fluctuate, sometimes skits, etc., like that. Typically, the less people you have, the shorter the Stripagram is, because there's only so many times a guy's going to dance on a girl. I've done Stripagrams for 3 people, which is the minimum that we do, and that goes by pretty quick. And then I've done Stripagrams with 60 women. Those typically go a little bit longer. It's not always based on the amount of people that are there, is time based. It's just kind of go with the flow. You know, sometimes people don't care for the dancing part, honestly. They enjoy it for a portion of it, and then it's like, okay, we're good to move on. Sometimes they've like, hey, the skit, I danced for like a little bit, and they're like, cool, get dressed and just kind of hang out with us. We want you to stay. We do not drink on Stripagrams. It's just a professional thing. We do not want to get intoxicated. Plus, we still have to drive home, and it's unprofessional. We occasionally we might have a little something. If you guys remember the Stripagram story podcast I did, one that Nathan and I did, they had a spread, and they were just not going to let us out of that house without a ton of food. So we did, but typically, you know, we keep that to a minimum as well. We do appreciate water, though. That goes a long way, especially if it's outside and we're dying of sweat. So yeah. All right, that's gonna do it for the Stripagram. So let's go into the best and worst events of the week. So you guys are getting a double decker. That's right. So starting off with the less than great or worst events of the week. Both these involve having ladies on stage. All right. So lady number 1. This one is actually a regular of another gentleman, and I had no idea who she was until after the fact, because I typically try, if people don't talk to me, I leave them alone. It's a respect thing. It's a professional thing. You know, if you wanted to talk to me, you would. So if you ladies ever come to the club and I don't speak to you and you think I'm being rude, I'm really not. I'm just respecting your time and your money. If you have not expressed any interest in me, I am not going to potentially pester you. I know that sometimes that's not the case with people and they prefer that the guys come up to them, but that's just the way I operate. So this lady was on stage, and I did the doctor skit, and let me just tell you, it was probably one of the most drawn out battles I have had on doctor in a long time. Like, she was extremely animated, which I have no idea where her level of intoxication was, or inebriation, but she was extremely over the top, like almost performing on main stage of an opera, of a amphitheater type thing, where she just had so many exaggerated moments, right? but they were all awkward and like not having it. Like she just did not want to interact with me, right? It was like everything was like, oh no, oh God, no. Like a total priss, which is fine. So I pull back a little bit and try to get through it, but she just wasn't having it. And she's like, you better not this, you better not that. And like, oh no. And then I was just like, oh my God, honey, can you please help me get to the skid, please? Like, please, we have 3 minutes on stage. Nothing, right? To the point, this is how bad it was, where I had to modify and just completely go off script 2 times during the skit, and then cut it short by about 30 seconds, right? And for those of you that have done the doctor or seen the doctor skit, I literally chopped up like the whole hand part and just went straight to the dancing part, which she still fought me on, still like stiff arming me and being awkward. And so I was like, sweet, there you go. And I got her up to take a bow while the skit was still playing, because I was like, look, like I just want to get you off stage. Like you are so uncomfortable. Let me save you this like horrible experience you're going through, right? Then she was like, that's it? And I was like, excuse me? She's like, that's all I get? I was like, you did not, what? You did not want to be here. And she's like, I thought you were thieves of the crowd. Please, I'm not pleased. I was like, oh my God, lady, get off my stage. Sweet 3-month-old, 8-pound, barely hair on his head, baby Jesus. What is going on? Oh, so yeah, I kind of slightly above averagely forcibly helped her off stage, and Pablo grabbed her. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. You literally wanted nothing to do on this stage, and then you're gonna call me out for not being satisfied? What? No, get off my stage. Like, that makes no sense to me whatsoever at all. And of course, she didn't tip me. Come to find out later, she's a frequent regular of another gentleman, so all the more reason, like, it explains why she quote unquote knew things. But like, yeah, I was just like, what? Like, how drunk are you? Were you just messing with me? Like, you literally have one persona the entire time, and then like, oh yeah, all right, moving right along. But first, another caffeine break. All right. Woman, oh yeah, my bad. I was about to read my notes. Nope, not gonna get that. If you are watching the video version of this that you get as being a Patreon, you can see the show notes on the screen, as well as my lovely little newsy hat. That's one of my favorites. All right, so next one is another stage woman. She is on stage. I have her on stage. I'm doing the shower, right? So let me just break this down for you. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, but this lady is a little bit on the thicker side, which is perfectly okay. No problems whatsoever, right? But just to put this in the context, she is a little on the thicker side and does not work out. So just being real with y'all, no judgment whatsoever. She is still beautiful, perfectly all right. There's a little more give, right? A little more give. You guys know what I'm talking about. So I go to lift her, which is well within my capabilities, right? So here's a slight pet peeve of mine. She was amazed that I lifted her, right? Which is fine, cool, awesome. I'm glad I can make you feel special. Thank you for the compliment. But you gotta help me a little bit. And what I mean by this is, when someone lifts you up, ladies, you want to have a little bit of activation in your core. What this means is your core is like your abs, your lower back, the part that keeps you upright. She was sober. She was sober, I promise you, because they were on stage too. And when I go to the stage, there was a bunch of waters. Merely, I think one lady had a drink and she was nursing it. She just completely limp noodled. All right. And when you're a bigger lady, this makes it extremely difficult on me because I value safety. I want to keep you safe. And when you're a limp noodle, there's a lot more movement going on and a lot more bendiness that I can't accommodate. I.e., both her legs were not holding herself up and she was not holding up herself. So typically when this happens, I have to put one arm underneath the leg to lift you up and one arm behind you on your spine to hold you up, right? Well, based on your size, you can essentially still overpower my hand and like bend backwards over my hand, if that makes sense. So like I'm holding the small of your back and your upper body is just limp noodling back. This also means that your other free leg is going to drop because I can't hold it up. This is exactly what this lady did. All right. which is a slight pet peeve of mine. You know, like either hold your leg up or like keep your body upright. You know what I'm saying? So I can help. So I held her up, but it was like really sloppy. Like I didn't like it. I was a little nervous that she might slip down. You know, obviously I have a death grip on her, so it doesn't. But I was just like, man, come on. Then, right? So I still do the lean her down part, which once again, I had to like muscle up on my own because she's just limp doodle, not helping me at all. And I honestly, I'm not really sure if she was having a good time or not. Then put her back in the chair. I go to do my typical dance on her to end the, you know, to just have another moment. And she claws me. She literally, after all this, takes her nails and claws my back. Ah. Ladies, let me take a moment to say that there is absolutely not a single dancer at that club that appreciates or enjoys that. We are sweaty. It burns. It is annoying. It looks tacky. We just do not like being clawed. So do not claw us. We don't care how turned on you are. We do not like it. She clawed me. I was like, fine. Then, right? I go have her take a bow. She doesn't want to leave the stage. She likes being the center of attention. She is showboating. Like, woman, get off my stage. Then, of course, the icing on the cake. She does not tip me. She does not tip me on stage. Her party just goes back to stage 2 and sits down. Yes. So, yeah. And I'm just being real with you. Don't get me wrong. They didn't ruin my night. That happens more often than you think. But I figured might as well make another PSA. I'll let you ladies know. Like, it doesn't take much. Like, squeeze your legs a little bit or activate your quads to keep your legs up, or just hold your core so your body's upright. Just little things like that. You don't have to death grip us. You don't have to like scissor squeeze us with your legs. You don't have to do a lot. Just a little bit of activation goes a long way towards making it a much better moment. Plus, like, it looks better. So if they're recording you or taking pictures, the pictures are going to come out a lot better than if you're just limp noodling it. I promise you. I kid you not. I don't even, and it's not even like a size thing. I don't even like it when younger, like tiny girls do this, because then I feel like they're going to bend their backs over the chair and break it or hit them heads. And it's just, it just ends up being a big thing. So, yeah, those were the double-decker worst events. Now moving on to the best event. One actually happened last night. This was absolutely phenomenal. So I had two friends of mine come in. They've been coming to see me for quite some time. It's a mom and daughter. We have a blast. If you're listening to the podcast, you know who you are because you're about to know, and it was great. So thank you so much for that. And I don't remember what happened. Oh, okay. So something random happened, and I ended up taking a quote from Talladega Nights and being like, "Don't you put that wickedness on me, Ricky Bobby." And it turns out that they both absolutely love that movie, and they started dying laughing, and it was just over from there. I'm like, oh, really? So yeah, needless to say, the rest of the night, and they just loved, the way the Pierre guy, the bad guy, was like, "I do not think so, Ricky Bobby." And they just died laughing. So needless to say, between the alcohol and my humor, I was busting their chops with that stuff all night, quoting parts of the movie to include shake and bake. And oh God, it was just great. Like, I had them rolling. And it always makes me feel good. It made my night that much better because at the end of the day, I don't mind being the sexy, like, you know, attractive symbol. But when I can make people genuinely gut laugh and smile, it just, the endorphin release really rewards me. And any of you that know me knows that I could be a complete buffoon, and that's really the payoff. I don't mind acting a fool at all when I get that kind of reward, and it really, really makes me happy when that happens. So yeah, that was the best event. It was an ongoing theme all night. It was absolutely amazing. I loved it. Even during the dances, I was messing with them and quoting night games or you know, "Help me, Tom Cruise, help me, Oprah Winfrey, I'm on fire. Hold on, Ricky Bobby, I'll help you put out the imaginary fire." All right, so it was great. I loved it, had a great time. Next one, this one's a little more serious, but extremely rewarding. So we've been going to the club early 5 nights a week to train choreography. And how do I say this? Because it's both. All right, so I've been teaching the guys, including the new guys, choreography for about a month solid now, maybe a little bit longer, maybe closer to 2 months actually. And then I had the in my aerial class that I teach for my level 2, I decided to teach a 1.5-minute, 90-second choreography to a popular song. And I ended up teaching it across 2 weeks because it took the ladies a little bit longer to put it together. But let me just say, one of the most rewarding things I've done in a long time has definitely been both that class and teaching these guys choreography, because they're able, like, they go from, I don't know, it's great. They add their own attitude and style to the movements. They end up gaining endurance. They become more fluid in their movements. I don't know, it's just such a rewarding feeling to watch people, both the guys and the ladies, grow and just kind of own stuff and put their sass out there and their emotion. And like, God, it's so rewarding. It really has. And the guys are somewhere appreciative, you know. They're like, man, I could never dance. Now look, I can't believe I'm doing these things. Remember when I started, I didn't even know how to count. And the ladies just owning it and being like, I didn't think I could perform, but now I might consider it. And oh man, it's just a great feeling. Absolutely great feeling. Something that really, really kind of hits home and makes me happy to know that I'm a decent teacher and I enjoy teaching and continue to teach people. It's just great. It really is. Warms my heart, makes me feel good about the things I do, and it makes the frustration sometimes so much better. And it's problem solving for me when I get to try to figure out what's the best way to teach someone when they have some kind of learning impediment. You know, some people can't count, some people can't hear the music, some people can't move a certain way. And so when I'm able to figure out the best way to teach them so they do accomplish that, it's another achievement unlocked for me. So definitely one of the high points, and I wanted to share that with you guys. All right, that will do it for our worst and best events of the week, which is typically everyone's favorite. Let's go ahead and bring this show to a close with, I'd like to mention the Sexiest Man in Texas contest. This is going down July 19th. I am putting together a new show for that, I believe. Let's see if I have the time to come together, bring it together, because it's quite an endeavor as usual. Because you know me, always extra, always over the top. So the idea came to me earlier this week, and I'm going to try to put it together in time for the show. So we'll find out. I'll have an answer by the time this show is posted, because I'm recording a little ahead of time, but I like staying ahead. But definitely check that out if you're in town or can make arrangements to be in town. The Sexiest Man of Texas is one of the best strip-offs we have. This is the pageant one where guys come out on stage 4 different times. Once in a suit, once in club wear, once in the bathing suit, and then once performing their skit and stage. So definitely check that out. July 19th. It is a great night to bring your first timers. All right. Moving on to social media, ladies and gentlemen, you can catch me at Cesar Goyazo on Facebook. That is COLLAZO. You can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at CesarLabear7. And then finally, like I mentioned earlier in the show, you can catch me streaming live at twitch.tv/Jedi_EJ. And one last thing, Cesar LaBear is my YouTube channel. If you have not checked out the reality show I did with 12 guys from both LaBear Dallas and San Antonio Hardbodies 2 years ago, check it out. It is worth seeing. Finally broken. We have, I think, over 1,600 views on episode 1. And the show just gets better and better from there. It is entirely produced by myself. So I'm super proud of it. But Imagine So You Think You Could Dance meets Magic Mike. That is what the show is. Check it out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for me. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. I think you are awesome. Let me know in the comments below how you are liking the show. Share it. Leave us a review. Give me a 5-star wherever you're on. Share it, share it, share it. Thank you guys so much once again. Until next time, keep bringing the rain.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Reserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you go. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.